a great podcast, and of course, you know where we are. We're at New York Prime, and we are driven by Brayman Motors Cars, West Palm and Jupiter. Next luxury car, make sure it's with Brayman. I'm joined by a special guest today, somebody in the Greek entourage. Phil's joining us, who also was our correspondent in Atlanta for the Super Bowl, and he handled all the strip clubs. Phil, how are you? Good afternoon.
Greek. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Nothing like a bribe of free steak and booze.
That's it. That's what we do here. And we got a famous picture today. I got this picture. It was presented to me. Very nice friend in iHeart Miami. Special lady, Sherry, who really is nice. And I said to her, I like this picture. She had it in her office. And all of a sudden, next thing, she got me one. So nice. It's one of the nicest things anybody's ever done for me in iHeart. I got to be honest with you. Now, I don't know if it says a lot about her or iHeart. Doesn't say much about them. So what's going on, Phil?
Not too much, man. Happy to be back home in sunny Florida. Had a good
How
time.
was Atlanta?
Atlanta was awesome. It did not disappoint. The game was the game. Some people loved it. Some people were a little bored. I had a good time anyway. I mean, anytime you had a Super Bowl, it's good. The festivities going on around it were awesome as per usual.
Now, who you were with? You were sitting by the famous DJ?
Yeah, so I ran into my good buddy Ivory, who's a DJ from down in Miami. He was out there, and it was really good. It was so good, in fact, that taking a break from the All-Star festivities this weekend, I'm still recovering.
Oh, you were thinking about going to the All-Star game?
You know, every year I like to do Super Bowl, All-Star game.
That's nice.
And then NBA Finals and World Series. That's kind of my sports. I guess it's a quad, whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's great. So, but Super Bowl was good this year.
Now, you're a big NBA fan. I know you do a lot of blogging about the NBA, and I respect your opinion. You know your stuff. What do you think of the whole situation with Anthony Davis?
Man, I got to tell you, I sat and thought about it a while, and I put myself in everyone's shoes. And
who do you think dropped the ball?
I mean, I gotta put it on him and his people, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I get it. You can't control. These guys are still humans, and they're still employees. They're performers. They're whatever. And I get it. As an organization, you can't muzzle your people. But I don't know. If I was an agent, I don't think I'd want to be out there talking about my guy demanding a trade in the middle of a season like that.
Do you think they went to New Orleans a month before and said, "Hey guys"? First of all, I think LeBron's behind the whole thing. I think LeBron and him were talking for a while, and I think he said, hey, it's not picking up speed. They're not really biting. So I think somebody directed him and say, hey, go public. Now New Orleans is saying, if they didn't go public, maybe this deal could have got done. Because you embarrassed them when you go forward. You 100%. Put a black guy in the organization, the front office. Today, which is Friday, the GM gets fired.
Yeah, Dell Demps.
He's gone.
Been there for the long haul.
Yeah, he's got time. Now, this team 2 years ago did very well in the playoffs, even though Cousins was gone. People were talking about this franchise up and coming. All of a sudden, this franchise is Titanic.
No, I agree with you 100%. I really think if they might have been able to keep it quiet, they could have put something together behind the scenes. The NBA right now, everyone is so sensitive with the anti-tampering rules and all this. And
tanking.
It's becoming tanking and tampering are now the big narratives. So when you got that going on, and you start putting things out in the public, instantly you're bringing a lot of it. You're bringing a lot of attention to it, and like any business deal, these things all get done in the back room, guys together, and once you start bringing light on it, shining the light on it, I think it gets a lot tougher. It wasn't a good move in my opinion.
Well, see, I would have got rid of him because, again, at that point when it came that clean, you got to end it because now, like last night, he leaves the stadium. He doesn't tell anybody. The other player, and last night was a win. You would have think they lost. He leaves. He gets MRI with his agent. He doesn't want to be there. You're telling everybody, just get me out. And at that point, just let him go.
100%. I think when they announced immediately after the deadline passed that he was going to be back in the lineup and playing, I thought that's absolutely ludicrous. If you can't move him, even with them, even with everything going on with them putting it out there, and you still can't move him, then sit him.
So you would sit him the rest of the year?
I would sit him 100%. If he's going to behave like that,
yeah.
I mean, they're not in a position, they're not doing anything. So you might as well, I mean, why?
Now it forces their hand with everybody because it's poker. Everybody knows he wants out.
Right.
I think that's where New Orleans got mad, where they said, like, you know what, keep it to yourself. Let us try to move you. There wasn't there. You can get more bang for the buck because they kept saying, whoever it is, hey, he wants to leave anyway.
Right.
So what are we going to get? We're not going to get anything, so that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, he's diminished his value as far as what they can get in return for him. And they hold. I mean, they've got the cards. They've got him there, so they need to get something. Obviously, you're not giving up. You know, you're not giving up your all-star player like that without getting something in return. So I just think it was a bungled thing all around.
Yeah, it wasn't good for the NBA, and especially this weekend with the NBA All-Star Game. A lot of talk this weekend going to be about LeBron and Jordan. Jordan's brand's going to be out there. They're releasing some sneakers. Now, I know you're a big sneakerhead.
950 pairs and strong.
950 pairs of sneakers. Wow.
Yeah, and that's just talk. I'm just talking Nikes and Jordans. There
Wow.
might be some more.
Now, aren't there a couple big things coming out this weekend?
Yeah, they always do. They do All-Stars themed shoes, and because of where the All-Star game is, they're doing some really cool stuff. I mean, obviously, Jordan Brand has a big presence. Nike is releasing some retro Kobe's in the original colors because we all know who drafted them originally. Yeah, and so they're coming out. They're doing Hornets colors on some Kobe's.
Oh wow!
The All-Star weekend, so it's gonna be pretty cool. But that's the fun part. Sneaker culture has tied in so heavily now with the NBA. I was just watching. I was actually watching a documentary about that today, and
where it started.
Yeah,
with Michael Jordan.
I mean, if you look back, with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird wearing Converse, and they tried doing these things with the shoe was called the Weapon. Yeah. So they did these ads with the two of them holding the shoe like a gun back to back, and it didn't really resonate with people. Sneaker culture really didn't take off until you got the Air Jordan in '85 with the Air Jordan 1s, and when the NBA banned them, that was probably the best thing they could have done.
Oh, anything in life. You take away, people want it. But now it's part of the culture.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, there's ball players, CC Sabathia. He's got a house.
Yeah, full of Jordans.
All sneakers.
I know CC from out in the Bay Area. He's a really good guy. He's a charitable guy. He's an awesome guy. And his sneaker collection is ridiculous. I mean, all these guys. I mean, you got...
Now, can you wear sneakers? If you wear them, that's it, or they lose their value?
Yeah, typically that's what happens. You get guys like me who are a little sick in the head. If I told you about my favorite pairs, I probably have 5-6 pairs sitting there, all in the boxes, and I'll wear one, and then the rest of the time. But I get instant anxiety. The minute I put a pair of sneakers on and I walk out the house, I always second guess it and question myself. So now I just keep them locked away.
Now, have you ever sold any pairs?
Not yet. It's funny. I just got approached. I've been thinking about it. I might part ways with a few just so I can A, have some space, and B, free up a little cash because they're getting expensive. Yeah. It's getting nuts.
So what is the most like a pair of sneakers on a black market go? Would you say $1,000, $2,000?
Oh, no. I know guys that have spent upwards of 10,000 plus. I mean, you get these Nike Air Mags, the ones that were from the Back to the Future movie. You guys pay 20 grand for them.
Wow.
There's certain Yeezys back, especially when it was with Nike.
Now, isn't there certain ones with colleges too, sneakers?
Yeah, they
like we were trying to get that one pair for our good friend Buddha with the Michigan. Now, what is the tie into that?
So they're called PEs, player exclusives. So basically, in the NBA, individual players who maybe don't have a signature shoe, but they're signed to Nike. Yeah. Nike will create a shoe in their team colors, put their number and name on it.
Very cool.
Now, for the college players, obviously the kids can't be sponsored by a team, but the programs are. Yeah. So instead of doing shoes for individual players, they'll do specific shoes for the program. And the most famous schools for that are obviously Oregon with Nike. Oh, yeah. Georgetown gets awesome Jordan Brand stuff. Michigan gets Jordan Brand sneakers. Carolina, Florida. Yeah. So they get these shoes, and it's a tough thing because they're issued to the players and the staff only, and pairs leak out. They give them to friends of the program. If you're a booster,
you're getting a pair.
I wish my grandfather was still alive. Maybe get him to stroke a check, get a pair. But if you donate, and they'll get a pair. But so what happens?
So they're not for sale to the public.
They're not for sale to the public, and what happens is these poor kids who are there working their rears off, not getting paid to play college ball. I know it's a big thing. I'm not getting into that. Yeah. But then they're given a pair of shoes that a guy's offering them $5 grand for, and a couple kids from Carolina got busted. I believe it was Carolina. For selling the pairs. And for me, it's really tempting because I wear a size 14, and if you wear a size 7, you're not getting those off a college player. But a 14 is in there, so I got to walk the line with that. But it's still fun.
Now, you surprised at all how big it's gotten?
I am, but I'm not. And, I think, especially for me at least, sneaker culture has always been, since its popularity has gained, it's been sports and hip hop and music really where the two have come together. And, originally it was big on the coast. You had New York, LA, and depending where you lived, that's what you wore. Then it came down south, especially when Atlanta came to prominence. especially with the music, and then down here. But now it's really worldwide. I spent a lot of time overseas. I mean, when I was in Paris, my last trip, I walked into a sneaker shop and I almost fell to the ground. They had things that I've been searching for years, just sitting there. Unfortunately, my size, I couldn't do it. But
now, social media, you would definitely figure that kicked up all this.
oh, big time. I mean, if you look at the sneaker blogs and the sneaker pages, some of these people are like rock stars. I mean, there's a guy out there called The Perfect Pair.
Yeah.
He's an American Indian guy in Oklahoma. They own a casino, his tribe, and does very well. I mean, I couldn't even estimate it, but I mean, I've got to tell you, the guy's got $700,000 worth of sneakers.
Wow.
And he's got,
sneakers. We're talking sneakers. Like we're talking practice.
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. Every time the guy puts a picture up, he gets 20,000 likes. I mean,
oh my
sneakers
God.
have become very popular.
It is the Greek Podcast. We're at New York Prime. Remember, this is a great place to come for anything. Birthdays, holidays, Valentine's Day was just here. My birthday's coming up. I made the biggest mistake of my life here. I got married on a Sunday. It was great. They closed the place. Special guest today, Phil, does a lot of blogging for the NBA. We're always sponsored by Brayman Motor Cars, Jupiter and West Palm. Your next car, make sure it's with Brayman. We'll return in a few minutes. We're going to talk more NBA and a little Kaepernick. And we'll see how much money he's really worth in the Greek Podcast. Peace.
At Brayman BMW, people love the service
Love the selection.
and love Club Brayman.
Come visit us and we give you all the love. Count on it.
It's the Season of Love sales event. Enjoy exceptional offers at Brayman BMW, West Palm Beach and Jupiter. BraymanBMW.com.
Come fall in love with the drive of a Brayman Mini.
You'll love the handling,
You'll love the styling.
and you'll love those Club Brayman events.
It's the Season of Love sales event. Now take up to $2,000 off every Mini. BraymanMini.com, West Palm Beach.
It's a great podcast. We're back in New York Prime. This is where you should always be for any special event. Or if you want a great steak, remember, the steak's so good, the cows want to come in here. That's awesome. Brayman Motor Cars is our sponsor. Jupiter and West Palm. Your next great experience should be with Brayman Motor Cars. Special guest today, my buddy Phil, does a lot of blogging with the NBA. He knows a lot about sports. Just taught us a lot about sneakers. Now, he's from the Bay Area, so we're going to try to keep it in that loop. We got a special guest who like to keep it where they're familiar. What about Kaepernick? They said this new league reached out to him, but he wanted a lot of money.
Yeah.
Is he worth it? Because I don't think he is.
I don't think so. I mean, look, I think, first of all, you got players in that league making a couple $100,000 over 3 seasons, and he demanded $20 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, come on. I don't think Broadway Joe in his prime would have walked in there with a fur coat and asked for that kind of money.
Again, to me, was it Kaepernick was blackballed, or was Kaepernick throwing out figures to the NFL teams and they were like, no?
Yeah, I mean,
And then he parlayed into all of this. We'll never know.
well, I don't think we'll ever know the real deal. But to me, I mean, I can't imagine that there were no suitable offers made. I think he just wanted to capitalize on the attention that he drew in,
Which was a lot.
which was a lot.
Yeah.
And look, I believe we live in a free country. Everyone's got the right to protest. Do it what you want. Do I agree or disagree about doing it at work? Whole nother story. But at the end of the day, the guy had a lot of eyes on him.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of teams were put off by that, but I think some teams might have been drawn in by that. And those guys that wanted him, I'm sure they offered him good money. I think he pushed too far,
Yep.
kind of went over the edge and realized, and now once you're so far gone, you got to ride it out. I mean, there's no
You're
pulling
done.
back from there.
I don't think he wanted to play. I really don't. I think he looked at it like, you know what? I'm getting enough money. I'm doing what I got to do. Nike's giving
Nike
me
deal,
money.
yeah.
Why am I going to get my ass kicked? I'll end up playing. Everybody feels bad for me. I got screwed. And I don't even think any of that happened.
Yeah.
I think he ends up sitting down. He ends up doing what he's got to do. And then at the end of the day, why am I going to play?
They settled today. Lord knows how much you got. I don't know.
He supposedly him and Reed settled the grievance with the NFL. I don't know if they got any money. That might have been a thing like years ago with the Trump. With the USFL, they might have got $1.
Right,
We'll
who
never
knows?
know.
We'll never
They're
find
not going to
out.
say
Yeah.
that. They're not going to say anything about that.
But then, it's an interesting thing. I could tell you, it was very split. Living in the Bay Area during when this kind of went down and first started, people, it was very divided, and it's really hard when you start mixing politics and sports, and
Yep.
because you have you get torn. You may be a diehard fan of his or a diehard fan of the team, but feel a different way about about the stance that he's taken. And for me, I love sports. I think sports are an important part of our life. I think they bring people together. And
the culture.
I want to enjoy the game, and I want to be a fan and feel like I'm a part of things. And I don't love all the craziness that goes around it. But
Well, I think a lot of times with Kaepernick, it just became also a racial thing. So you put politics, sports, and obviously race, and that's very, very complicated. Right now, we're getting some shrimp
look
from
at
my
that.
favorite waiter in the whole world. This kid travels more than anybody,
Hey.
and he loves the camera, by the way, because he's been on a couple times, and people say, "Man, that kid loves the camera."
thank
Where you
you.
go this week? Anywhere? Dubai?
Peru.
Peru. It's going to be in Peru.
at
2
this.
nights a week, he makes his nut here.
thank you. Probably on ladies' night, huh? You work Wednesdays.
Look at this. I mean, can you beat this? The great podcast. We got our boy taking care of us, the
Thank
shrimp.
you.
I'll be sitting here for dinner in about an hour.
Nice.
He is the man.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank
so,
you
much.
so much.
Can't beat it here at New York Prime. Make sure you stop by. One of my top spots all time. Love it. And the waiters are handsome. When he's not traveling.
That's right.
I had to call up and see what nights he's going to be on. Because he could be in Dubai, he could be in Venice Beach. He's got a tough life. Brickell. Love you, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I know you're a big Knicks fan.
Yes.
What is the situation with that team? Because I think they're done.
I've got to tell you something. As long as James Dolan is
Owns
at the
it.
head of that organization, they are not doing anything. I am so embarrassed. I will turn my Knicks jerseys inside out
Yeah.
and wear them. They are just ridiculous. It's all. I mean, I shouldn't say it started. It got bad when we started. I mean, during the Marcus Camby, Chris Childs era, all this garbage.
But that
Sprewell.
one team got to the finals.
We did.
That's the one you got to give them credit. Because in the 90s, they were strong with Pat.
Yeah, and then the,
and then
the
they had
little
the-
slide, and
yeah,
then they came back.
yeah.
But when the stuff went down with Isaiah,
Yeah, it was
that
terrible.
was just horrific, and they haven't done anything to recover since. I mean, Porzingis. I don't know.
It was the only good thing Phil Jackson did.
It was.
I mean,
It
they
was really-
found him. He was great. Now, what do you think the riff was there?
You know what? I think he rightly, and it's unfortunate too, because I love the Knicks. I love New York. I think if I could just playing a sport, there's nowhere else in the world I'd rather be than under the lights of the Garden, because it forces you to perform. Because if you don't perform, you're getting
Yeah.
booed out of there. Porzingis was a good kid. I think he really saw the direction that the organization was taking and decided that it was going to be detrimental to his career, maybe his health. I think maybe they were forcing him to come back early from the injury because they wanted him on the court.
Now, there was also speculation Porzingis' brother is very much involved, and they say he's not easy to deal with.
No,
he
he-
was causing a lot of problems.
He's definitely been around. I mean, if you follow them at all and you see, I mean, even when you see pictures on social media and things, and I've had some close buddies who've been on the team
Yeah.
with them and things. No, the brother's definitely a big part of it. But like anything, I think at the end of the day, these kids now have gotten so smart in realizing that they've got a finite amount of time they can play.
Yeah.
And it's
They're gonna
gotta
make
do
it.
it right. And a guy like him could be kind of a, he might not be a max deal kind of guy, but
Yeah.
he could be close to it on the next round. So he's got to, he wanted to get himself out of there and get himself in a position where he can
Dallas would
stay
be good with
healthy.
him. They got a couple
I think
nice
so.
guys.
That's a good
Hardaway,
move.
him.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that a couple of these free agents that the Knicks are talking about, and Zaire Williams is going to end up coming to New York? Because I don't see that.
You know what? I don't imagine any kid or any player that's got the real chops, their representatives telling them, I think it's a good idea for you to be in New York.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so much.
But there is so much potential
There's
there,
so much
and the money.
potential, but there's so much turmoil. And the problem is you don't, right, they've got the money.
Yeah.
They've got picks,
Biggest stage in the
money,
world.
They've got the biggest stage in the world. But the problem is that if they're going to keep making terminal mistakes around you, it doesn't matter how good you are.
Yeah.
If the Bulls woke up one day and traded Pippen,
Yeah. Yeah.
and traded Kerr, or went out and said, Rodman's hair is too wild. We don't want him here. We're going to bring in somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what that might have done? So, I mean, look at you see what's going on with LeBron.
Yeah. LeBron's drama. I think there was an article in the LA Times yesterday about LeBron, and this experiment hasn't worked, and I don't know what they expected. But LeBron was out for a month.
Yep.
I mean, and he doesn't have really anybody on him. I think when he went public with the trade, obviously we talked about Anthony Davis, and him on that side was really bad because he wants to trade everybody.
Right.
I guess they look at it. We get Anthony Davis, LeBron, and the Kardashians, and we're fine
Right.
because they would have had nothing left.
Yeah.
They had the Hollywood sign. They put up George Clooney. They couldn't get him. They just couldn't. But I think they were so embarrassed. Like I said, New Orleans. But do you think LeBron will ever have a team around him out there within the next 2 years? Because he don't have a big window.
No,
3 years.
That's it. You got a few years. You know, I think it comes down to who wins the battle. Does Jeannie Buss win, or does the Magic other side of the organization? You know, do those guys win? And it'll be very interesting to see. You know, I don't know. I think again, you got another thing where everything going on behind the scenes is just as impactful as what's going on
of
the
course,
court.
yeah. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's what happens with a lot of this stuff. A lot of these deals go down. I think LeBron thought also the East was a lot easier. This is a guy who got to the finals, 8 years in a row? This year, he may not make the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, so that's going to be huge news. Even though he was out a month, they're 10th right now. Miami Heat are 10th on the East. I think the Heat got a better chance. Wade had a big night the other night, 22 points against Dallas.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet Wade to be the MVP of the All-Star game, just a little sentimental thing. I think it might happen.
I think they should.
I mean, I'm coming off my Edelman win, so I'm happy about that. But we'll see what happens. But again, for the Heat, they got issues. They really do. And, you know, when Wade is still the best player, that's scary.
That shows you something.
That's scary.
And I was really surprised some of the moves they made at the deadline.
Yeah.
I loved Wayne Ellington.
Yeah.
You know, he played with a couple of my teams, and you know, I thought he was a good guy. And I don't know, but you know, the East again is not awe-inspiring this year. Boston's falling apart.
I think you got 4 great teams. You got Philly, Boston, Toronto, and Philly, Boston, Toronto, and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
The Greek Freak. I mean,
Greek
yeah,
Freak.
those 4 are tough. The other 5 to 8 are terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
can any of those 4 beat your team?
I don't think anyone's touching them. I mean, those
No.
guys are locked in. As you and I are sitting, I've been at dinner with these guys, you know, the night before a finals game. We've been sitting in the hotel talking, and
He's got connections.
I'll tell you what, that team is built to win, and those guys,
They're close.
They're close. I've seen, you know, I love reading all these newspaper articles and all these blogs online of speculating about rifts in the locker room.
And you know, yeah.
Look, first of all, show me 2 brothers or a mother and a son that haven't gotten into it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I still have the scar from the last time I threw my napkin down and got up from the dinner table. My mom whooped me.
Yeah.
You know, we all have those problems, but at the end of the day, that squad is so intertwined and has one singular focus, and that's winning.
Yep.
And it comes down from the top. You know, Joe Lacob, Peter Guber, the guys that own that team are amazing guys. They're good. They treat it's like family. And, you know, it trickles down through Bob Myers, the GM, into the coaching staff, Coach Kerr. You know, that's why I was shocked. I mean, I get the opportunity to be a head coach, but when I saw Luke Walton leave, I instantly thought to myself, you know what? You're walking away from an opportunity. You've got another few years you can study under Coach Kerr.
I was very impressed was when they all got on the plane, 10 of them, and they went to get Kevin Durant.
Yep.
That in itself says something. This is the Greek Podcast. I am the Greek. Special guest Phil does a lot of blogging. Also, you want a high-end car, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Bentley, he can get it done for you. Atlantic Motor Group, right? Those are the guys that do it. They're responsible for our studio. I am the Greek. We want to thank Brayman Motor Cars. Every week we do our show. Thanks to Brayman Motor Cars in Jupiter and West Palm. This is New York Palm. I am the Greek. Special thanks to Sherry. This is such a nice print. My favorite one now. No boy. And I have a ton of prints in my office home. This is my favorite one, and I was so taken back by this. And it is my birthday this month, and I got to tell you, it seemed like my birthday today. Special thanks to Alex, who's always behind the scenes doing a great job. New York Prime, we'll see you next week in a Greek Podcast. Peace!